Welcome in, everyone. My name is Sam. Welcome to another episode of The Rush, and this is the first one that we're doing for this off season. It was a very difficult thing to swallow, that loss of the Edmonton Oilers in the Stanley Cup final for the second straight year. But it happens. I'm happy that we were in that position because I know 31 other teams would have loved to be in that position. So, congratulations to the Florida Panthers again for winning their back-to-back Stanley Cup rings. Proud of them. Good for them. Awesome. Now we're moving on. A week removed, I decided to create a video on how to fix the Edmonton Oilers. And yes, it could have some video game status kind of stuff into it, but who knows? Crazier things have happened in the NHL. One crazy thing that's already happened is the Edmonton Oilers have found a way to remove and trade the entirety of Evander Kane's contract to the Vancouver Canucks. Surprising. Didn't think that they would be the ones that would trade for him. But the Oilers found a way to make that happen. And now we have a little bit more money. However, as we all know, some of that money is going to be eaten up by Evan Bouchard. Here's where it gets complicated, because once he signs that contract, Draisaitl's contract starts. We then have to focus on the McDavid contract, but there's rumors and rumblings that he may not want to sign here because it doesn't look like we're competitive. That scares me as an Oilers fan. So I decided to kind of just go onto Puckpedia. I know, armchair GMing, video game GMing. I'll hear it all in the comments. I don't care. But I decided to come up with two different options that the Oilers could pursue to potentially kind of work around what their cap situation is. Now, this is all a fan perspective. I don't know if any of this would work, and obviously those teams that I have engagement with would probably have to get some sort of added bonus to it, valuing a little bit more than what I put. But this is just a shot in the dark. If it happened, great. I don't think I would complain. I don't think any other Oilers fans would complain, but we're going to give it a shot. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you the list of UFAs and RFAs that are available. We'll go through the depth chart of the Edmonton Oilers and where I believe some vacancies are. Then I'll present my two options for you, and then you guys let me know in the comments what you think. But I have to remind you and I have to warn you, these are just kind of mock pipe dream kind of things. This is not anything that's factual. This is not anything that's happening in real time. This is just a fan's perspective of what I would like to see and how I believe the Oilers could fix some of their issues moving forward and maybe get Connor McDavid to sign long term and have that belief here is where he can win. So without further ado, let's go ahead and let's get into it. Okay, so first let's start off by taking a look at some of the UFA players and the RFA players that are out there. Now, looking at this realistically, I don't see the Oilers being able to make a pitch for a lot of UFA players given their cap situation and their RFA player, especially Evan Bouchard, who has to be re-signed. There's just no money. But I think I've gone and found a creative way to make this happen and maybe target some of those UFA players. Now, there's no guarantee that any of this could happen. This is just a fan trying to see what I could throw out there, and whatever sticks to the wall, I'm happy. But these are the list of UFA and RFA players, and there are going to be some surprises in this. Now, I know the Oilers have to focus on goaltending this next season. That's been a hot topic debate. I do have one option in which the Oilers could potentially fix their goaltending or improve it, and then I have another option in which goaltending is just not even accounted for. So bear with me as I go through these two different types of transactions that I'm going to make, and I'll explain why I'm making those transactions. So now we see the Oilers' current roster lineup, the depth chart, how it's kind of structured based off of that trade with Evander Kane to Vancouver. We have a lot of vacant spots that are in the lineup. The reason why I don't have a couple players listed is because they are going to be in situations where we could potentially see a trade. But arguably, this is what looks like our lineup is going to be next season, and we have a few spots that I believe the Oilers need to find a way to fill out. Obviously, adding two line mates for Draisaitl that could really be goal scorers, put the puck in the net, Podkolzin filled in very well, Arvidsson from time to time, but we really want to see a lot of consistency in that realm. So let's go over and check out the mock transaction and lineup option number 1. Option number 1 is in the offseason. We want to obviously re-sign Evan Bouchard to 8 years, $10 million, lock him in. Trent Frederick, the details are still coming out, but I believe he's roughly around 3.5, 3.6. I just put 3.6 for 8 years. John Klingberg, I had an interest in bringing him back because he showed a lot of improvement over the course of the season. Yes, in the playoffs, it kind of fell off, but he did play some critical role in puck moving for the back end. Corey Perry, I'd love to bring back again because he's that veteran leader. We're going to re-sign Noah Philp. I'm going to target Victor Olofsson from the Vegas Golden Knights. And then I'm obviously going to re-sign Rodrigue because he's supposed to be the goaltender of the future. The trade here is where it gets interesting. Calvin Pickard and Victor Arvidsson for UPL from Buffalo, seeing as Buffalo's GM Kevin Adams is making random trades and is throwing away talent. I wanted to see if the Oilers could potentially capitalize on a trade with Kevin Adams and potentially get that goaltender that would challenge Stuart Skinner. And I think UPL would be a great fit. No knock on Calvin Pickard. He stepped up. He did a great job. Fantastic. But I would love to see UPL maybe challenge Stuart Skinner a little bit. He had some pretty good numbers, especially on a bad Buffalo team. I think he could do really well with the Oilers and their team defense that they have. Now, the next transaction that I made obviously is a complete pipe dream. So I know you guys are going to slam me in the comments for it. That's totally fine. But complete pipe dream. Everything that happened in Nashville didn't work out the way they wanted it to. And there's news that Roman Josi may not even play next season or the season after that, or might just be done overall. So I decided, why not look at a trade to see what it would take to maybe get Ryan O'Reilly or Marchessault or both of them out of Nashville, but in turn, we would have to move a contract like Adam Henrique, Darnell Nurse, and Josh Brown. This is all granted that Henrique decides to go there and he waives his no-move clause, and Darnell Nurse does the same thing, and Josh Brown just to kind of make the money work. And if it were to be okay, then we would send this year's third-round pick and next year's third-round pick to bring those two assets in. Now, the reason why I have that is because when I want to structure the lineup, it's going to look like this. Connor McDavid most likely would re-sign a contract. I don't have him here listed as an extension, but he would sign the contract for another 8 years. We'd have Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Zach Hyman on that top line. Then we would have Victor Olofsson with Leon Draisaitl and Marchessault, two players who are proven to be able to put the puck in the net. The third line would be Ryan O'Reilly, Trent Frederick, and Matt Savoy, our top prospect. Our fourth line would be Janmark, Podkolzin, and Perry, a very veteran, stable, go get it, go to the crash the net kind of line. And all this talent around Matt Savoy would kind of shelter that top prospect and allow him to be successful. And Ryan O'Reilly and Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid obviously can coach Matt Savoy on how to become a much better center player for the future for the Oilers. Now, this is where the defense kind of changes because I did take Nurse out of this equation. Brett Kulak and Evan Bouchard had a amazing amount of success in the playoffs, being paired together, especially when Matthias Ekholm was out. That defensive pairing was rolling very well. Matthias Ekholm would then slot down in the second position with Darnell Nurse no longer being there and go alongside Jake Wallman, who has also shown that he is a fantastic puck mover. Our third pairing defense is where I kind of get a little iffy, and that's why I wanted to bring John Klingberg back, because Ty Emberson, Troy Stetcher, John Klingberg would kind of cycle and rotate there. Potentially we could see an off season or during the trade deadline, maybe a trade happen, who knows, based off whatever happens in the season. And our goaltending would be Stuart Skinner and UPL, which would be a great tandem. I feel like they would feed off of each other. Stuart going into his contract here might be motivated to play a little bit better. And if not, we would have UPL kind of there for the future, and then we could look for a backup if UPL is doing really well. Transaction number 2 is obviously I'm going to bring back Frederick, This time I put him at 3.5 by 8. Evan Bouchard is 10 years, 8 or 10 million at 8 years. I decided to take a shot on Jamie Benn because of Dallas's cap situation. They're not going to be able to bring everybody back. Might be able to convince him to join this Stanley Cup roster, especially a team that has been beating them for the last couple seasons. We might be able to convince him. Rodrigue, bring him back. I put in the Connor McDavid extension, 8 years, 16 million. Brought back Corey Perry, took a shot and went out and signed Nick Ehlers, 7.5 million for 7 years. I know that might scare some of you guys, but follow me on this one. In order to make this happen, again, I'm going to call Kevin Adams, the GM in Buffalo, because he seems to kind of misvalue his players. But I'm going to send him Darnell Nurse and Victor Arvidsson with this year's 3rd-round pick and next year's 5th-round pick for a swing of Tage Thompson. I know, completely unrealistic, but it's Kevin Adams. Anything is possible. You just find a way to convince him. It seems like he's willing to just move pieces. And then the second trade that I would make is if Adam Henrique agreed to waive his no-move clause, I would send him back to New Jersey and potentially see if I could get a 3rd and a 5th-round pick out of them, maybe a 4th round, but would see what would happen with that one. So the lineup would then be structured this way. Connor McDavid, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Zach Hyman, then Leon Draisaitl with 2 bona fide scorers on his wings in Ehlers and Thompson. Jamie Benn would man the 3rd line with Frederick and Matt Savoy. Janmark, Podkolzin, and Corey Perry on that 4th line. Again, this team is talented. It can put pucks in the net. It surrounds Matt Savoy with amazing talent, buffers him a little bit, gives that forward group a little bit more punch. 2 more or 3 more impact players added to this forward line makes it really, really good. Again, with the defense, Nurse, I took him out of the equation again because I feel like Nurse has been a little bit difficult to match partners up with. And so with this one, again, we're going to go Brett Kulak, Evan Bouchard, Matthias Ekholm, Jake Wallman. And I decided to bring Cam Dineen out because when he did get a few games here in Edmonton, he showcased really well. But I also have Ty Emberson and Troy Stetcher there. And if there's need for a potential offseason trade or a trade deadline trade or in-season trade, the Oilers could potentially expand on that and maybe look at adding a defenseman. And I went with Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickard in this scenario to kind of continue that goaltending tandem. I know it wasn't successful, but this one is a little bit different because now there's more offensive punch that the Oilers could potentially outscore some of their goaltending issues and then maybe have a little bit more team defense or team-oriented play with it. But let me know what you guys think. If you guys like that option 1 or option 2, it'd be really good to hear from you guys, to hear what your thoughts are. Again, these are pipe dreams. I don't think it'll happen, but this is just a fan perspective on what I think could happen. And who knows? The offseason could change the very foundation and trajectory of the Edmonton Oilers. Obviously, the Evan Bouchard and Connor McDavid contracts are looming. We want to make sure Connor McDavid stays. As a fan, I feel like these 2 lineups, especially the second one, would be a little bit more convincing for Connor McDavid to say, okay, we can potentially win multiple cups here. But who knows? Let me know what you guys think. Drop it in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like. I will catch you guys on the next video.